Welcome to Time Travel 24 and a second look at some of the slides and cine film taken by Brian Sparrow from 1963 to 1968, plus some slides taken by Jeff Martin of Oxford Builder fame at the 1966 August Championship meeting at Santa Pod. We kick off with a look at Alan Herridge's straight 8 Buick powered dragster parked outside Robin Evermy's parents' bungalow in the summer of '63. The dragster was kept in the garage next door to the bungalow between meetings. Alan Herridge, Robin Evermy, Brian Sparrow and John Harrison were a four-man syndicate known as Dragster Developments, and they ran the straight 8 Buick dragster at sprints and drag races during '63 and '64. They were also all members of the British Hot Rod Association. Brian Sparrow was Competitions Secretary and Alan Herridge was Assistant Competitions Secretary of the association. February of 1960 saw the first efforts to organise hot rodding in Britain by a club known as the Sprinters, later renamed the Highwaymen Hot Rod Club. The club was based in Hayes, Middlesex, and included amongst its members Alan Herridge, Robin Evermy, Brian Whitty and Peter Bartlett. Soon after, word came of a nearby club called the Road Knights in Maidenhead, and a joint meeting was held with a proposal to form a national association. Brian Call was instrumental in laying down the groundwork for the association, and on the 1st of September 1960, the British Hot Rod Association officially came into existence. Other clubs were quick to join, including the Vikings from Southampton, headed by John Baker, who ran a Morris 8 Roadster, the Dragons from Manchester, headed by Clive Lingard, who built a channelled fenderless 37 Model Y, and the Roadrunners from Sutton Coldfield, headed by Ken Cooper, who had a customised yellow 37 Ford Coupe and a 33 Cabriolet. These slides now were taken at a show in Birmingham early in 1964, where the British Hot Rod Association had set up a display of two cars, the DD Buick Dragster and Ken Cooper's Hot Rod. The Buick now had a front-mounted supercharger and a new battleship grey paint job on the chassis. Ken Cooper's 33 Cabriolet Hot Rod had just received a new black paint job and a red chassis. When Ken bought the car for £35, it had a Model B 4-banger and commercial gearbox fitted. He swapped this for a 48 Mercury mill, which he picked up brand new for £40. Not satisfied with 100 horsepower, he stripped it down and relieved each hole to the depth of the top of each piston ring, and he opened out the inlet ports. A set of stellite-tipped valves with Lincoln Zephyr springs were installed, with a 3/4 race cam and adjustable Johnson tappets. To get a few more inches, Ken installed a 53 Mercury crank, which had a 4-inch stroke, and to boost the oil pressure, a 49 Mercury oil pump. To top the mill off, he fitted 2 Strombergs on an unheated manifold. A chopped flywheel and 9-inch clutch mated to a 33 transmission, shifted by a 38 stick. 39 Mercury hydraulic brakes were fitted, with 62 Zodiac swing pedal and master cylinder, and for wheels, Ken used 36 Ford 16-inch steels. To lower the car, the front spring had reversed eyes and 3 leaves removed, and jagged tubular shocks were fitted. The fenders were replaced by motorcycle items, a 32 grille shell was fitted, and an Austin Healey fuel tank went in the trunk. The 17th of May 1964 saw the running of the first drag race in Britain at RAF Duxford in Cambridgeshire. An earlier attempt by the British Hot Rod Association in August '63 had to be cancelled due to only 17 entries, but this time the Allied Owners Club and the NSA helped the British Hot Rod Association boost the entry list to 58, and here's a look at the original signing on sheet. The up to 1300cc touring car class saw a mix of Minis, Hillman Imps and a Fiat. Number 4 C. Rogers won the Eliminator with his 18-second Mini over number 6 W. Pratt's 19-second Fiat. The 1301 to 2000 touring car class saw 3 Cortina GTs, the Riley 1.5 and an Austin A50. The final was between the Cortinas of number 14 K.A. Kinch and number 15 P. Steiner. Steiner took it, running a best of 17:46. Number 18, M.R. Holmes, took the 2001 to 3000 touring car eliminator, running a 17.25 in his Ford Zephyr to beat number 16, Alan Tiley's Zodiac. Alan Tiley took all the cine film in Time Travel 10. The over 3000cc touring car class saw more famous names. Number 24, Ann Palmer, ran a 17.08 in husband-to-be John Bennett's 58 Pontiac. Number 26, Mike Natman, who was running his Allard at the 1998 Hot Rod Drags, ran a 21.24 in his Ford Pilot. Number 25, Peter Bartlett, ran a 19.41 in his 57 Chevy. Number 30, Roy Phelps, ran a 19.71 in his Plymouth pickup. The eliminator was won by number 28, Mr. N. Watt, in his 3.8 Jag. Number 34 was Clive Lingard, entered in the up to 1300cc Sports GT class with his Model Y hot rod, but his 21.04 was no match for number 32, D. Denhart's Cooper Climax, which ran a 15.35 to take the eliminator. The 1301 to 2000 Sports GT class had an MGA, an MGB, a TR2 and two TR3s, which met in the final. Number 39, John Sparrow, took the win over number 40, Jay Gould, with a 16.07. I don't know why, but Jay Sparrow also won the 2001 to 3000 Sports GT class in the same car, beating number 48, KC Baker's Allard Palm Beach. The over 3000cc Sports GT class was made up of Jags, Allards and the super quick Farrelac of number 52, Don Farrell, running a 13.46. It took the eliminator over number 57, WA Alderton's E-Type. Number 55, Jim Tiller, ran a 14.62 during qualifying in his J2 Allard, fitted with the Arden flathead. It now has a Chevy Rat fitted, and Jim recently clocked a 10-second run at Brighton. The up to 1000cc dragster and racing car class went to number 60, M. Jones, in his Cooper Jap Special, beating number 63, WA Alderton's SC Special. The 1001 to 2000cc dragster and racing car class saw number 64, John Hume, run 11.92 in the Works Allard Dragon to take top time of the meet. Number 66, Jerry Boughton, and number 65, Ian Smith, were both driving the Boughton Dragon, and number 67, Tony Densham, ran a 15.76 in the Warden, but this class had no eliminator winner. Finally, the over 2000cc dragster and racing car class saw number 119, R.N. Wright, run a 14.84 in his Cadillac powered hot rod. Number 122, John Harrison, ran a 19.43 in the DD Atlantic dragster, and number 123, Alan Herridge, ran a 13.82 in the DD Buick. The Wright brothers took the eliminator win. Bootsy got the British Hot Rod Association Best ET Award, and Tony Densham got the National Sprint Association Best ET Award. Top eliminator went to Jerry Boughton. July 1965 saw 10,000 people attend the Vickers Supermarine Sports and Social Club Gala Day, held at the Vickers Airfield, South Marston, near Swindon. The main feature of the day was the drag race meeting, organised by the British Drag Racing Association, which had been formed in 1964 by Sidney Allard to promote the international drag festivals, as well as regular national drag races. The day dawned overcast but dry. The British Drag Racing Association Secretary Jerry Boughton was adding the final touches to the paddock layout as the first of the 59 competitors drove onto the airfield. By 10 AM, The paddock was full of exciting machinery and eager competitors ready to put their machines against the electric clocks of timekeeper Tony Bailey. The dragster developments team had brought along their newly completed Cadillac dragster Pulsation, but new car gremlins kept it from recording any quick times, qualifying with a clutch slip in 1959. Fitted next to the DD team was the Dos Palmas Chevy gas dragster, recently imported by the Croft Drag Racing Partnership. Norman Barclay, who captained Britain's Olympic toboggan team, qualified the car with an impressive 9.77, 155 miles an hour, to become the first British driver into the nines. The Pulsation and Dos Palmas dragsters were the only two entered in the over 5,000cc dragster eliminator, and Norman Barclay took the win with an 11.46 solo, as Bootsy couldn't make the call. Had his Moon t-shirt on as he checks over Nobby Hill's new Hound Dog 2 dragster. This car replaced Nobby's first dragster from '64 and used the same Mark 7 Jag engine with the addition of a Wade blower in front, which was fed methanol by 3 SUs. It used a manual Jag box and a Chrysler rear axle. Driver was Les Hill, and he qualified for the 2,501cc to 5,000cc dragster class with a 12.25, and went on to win the eliminator final, beating Leon Moss's blown Riley dragster with a 12.5 at 101 miles an hour. On the left is Derek Metcalf's TR2 engine dragster, which used a Volkswagen gearbox turned upside down. Derek qualified for the up to 2,500cc dragster eliminator with an 18.15. In the eliminations final, Derek met Kay Stevens driving a Vauxhall-powered Ford hot rod. Derek won with a 17.8 at 78 miles an hour to the hot rod's 18.56 at 73. Tony Densham was there in the Warden dragster, powered by a Wade-blown 1500 Ford. Like Hound Dog, he was running in the 2,501 to 5,000 dragster class, as blown cars were moved up a class. He qualified with a 13.73, but got beat by Hound Dog in the first round of eliminations. Also in the same eliminator were the two Allard Dragons. Colin Glass was driving the Belton Dragon, while Alan Allard was in the Works machine, and he uncorked an impressive 11.38 in qualifying, but broke the transmission in the process, so couldn't make eliminations. This is Ken Wilson's Gilburn Chevrolet, which took the over 4,000cc Sports GT eliminator with a 13.63, 106 miles an hour, over Bruce Ropner's Cobra, which ran an off-form 14.5 at 105. This is the jag-powered Triumph of B.G. Hawkins, which was running in the 2501 to 4000 Sports GT class. W.C. Cuff was running in the over 3000cc racing car class with his Cooper Daimler, complete with zoomy headers. He qualified with a 12.32, then won the Eliminator with an impressive 12.09 at 119 miles an hour. Saw the American Commandos drag racing team arrive at Santa Pod. The whole deal had been started back in 1963 on Friday, April the 5th, when Brian Sparrow received a telegram from Mr. Racing Car Show himself, Ian Smith, requesting that contact be made with a Mr. Robert George at the Dorchester Hotel, reference bringing dragsters and hot rods to Britain. Needless to say, this was quickly followed up. It transpired on meeting Bob George that the scheme was for a show in London and a go at an airstrip. However, this was not to be, for after subsequent talks with the RAC and Sydney Allard, it was seen that the difficulties were far too many to put on a show and go early that summer. Correspondence with Bob continued throughout 64 and 65, and the announcement by John Bennett of the opening of Santa Pod in 1966 was quickly passed on to Detroit, where interest was intense. Al Ekstrand came over in March, being Bob's attorney, as well as Chrysler Works drag racer, to negotiate a contract, and he met Brian Sparrow and John Bennett, who took him to a British Drag Racing Association practice day at Gravely. John Bennett on the left, Brian Sparrow in the middle, and Al Ekstrand on the right. Brian Sparrow jotted down a list of vehicles he thought desirable for the series, including the jet dragsters of Art Malone and Art Arfons, multi-engine rails like Tommy Ivo's 4-engine Showboat, the funny cars of Chrisman, Mr. Norm and the Lawman, modified roadsters, i.e. a blown Hemi-powered T-bucket, gas coupes, but not 33 Willis, as we'd already seen to at the drag festivals, and a Chevy-powered motorbike. Al Ekstrand went back to Detroit, and plans were laid down for 4 cars and a bike to come over to Santa Pod in June for the 2 weekends. Al Ekstrand was the manager and team captain of the Commandos, and was also driving his Lawman Dodge Charger, which ran a best of 12.96 and had many interesting match races with British machines. Brian Sparrow had asked for a Chevy-powered bike, and he got one, as none other than E.J. Potter came over with his injected 327 Corvette engine bike, which ran several 10-second, 140-mile-an-hour smoky runs before crashing at the last meeting, necessitating a short stay in Bedford Hospital for the Michigan Madman. Larry Arnold was driving the Lawman Anglia, which also ran an injected 327 Chevy. A Hurst shifter actuated a 3-speed box that turned the M&H pie crusts mounted on chrome steel wheels. Bodywork was finished in candy apple red. Brian had also asked for a blown Hemi T-bucket modified roadster. Gilbert and Dave Mudrack brought over the runt, which fitted the bill. The nitro-burning Hemi ran direct drive to the 16-inch Hallibrands and 11-inch Goodyear Blue Streaks. Lastly, Bud Barnes and Bob Gladstone were brought over the ultrasonic top fuel dragster. Another blown Hemi sat in a Logie frame, and 11-inch Blue Streak slicks were again fitted, this time on Americans. The 2 dragsters ran several match races during the series. Best time for the runt was a 9.03, while Ultrasonic ran an 8.57 to take the strip record. The Anglia's handling was quite something, it being all over the place. but Larry Arnold was not helping matters, and a straight talk from Alex Strand produced a straight run from Larry in 10.85 seconds. E.J. Potter's runs had to be seen to be believed. He sat on the line with the rear tire 2 inches off the ground, engaged the clutch, stabbed the throttle and rocked the bike off its stand. The rear of the machine was immediately engulfed in smoke, and rubber particles were thrown back on the strip as a reminder that a tyre only lasted 3 runs. EJ's best run was a 10.48.142, which took the bike strip record. John Bennett had decided against the idea of bringing a jet over with the commandos, as he thought it could be a bit noisy and didn't want to upset the neighbours at this early stage of Santa Pod's development. He would have probably set fire to the wooden guardrails anyway. Also, a planned return visit for the commandos in August had to be postponed until 1967. We're now going to have a look at the British Hot Rod Association's first British Drag Racing Championships, held over the August bank holiday at Santa Pod. Brian Gibson comes out in the 3.4 jag-powered Ford Pop Wild Thing. Alan Allard brings out the Shorrock-blown Dragoon Anglia altered. Just to the left of the Dragoon Anglia is Chris Patterson pushing the Works Allard Dragon, which he'd won the previous year in a competition run by British Drag Racing magazine. Lotus Cortina on the right was the tow car for the Anglia, and just above the tail fin is the Ford V8 engine in Brian Whitty's rail. Colin Dunster in the 3.4 Jag Model Y Juggernaut takes on Robin Bolch in a Ford Pilot-based machine. The Pilot chassis and engine were fitted with a homemade aluminium roadster body and a roll bar. The fenders, grille and bonnet were later dispensed with, and the body painted yellow, as it was called Yellow Rod. Eric Ellis blasted out the hole in his supercharged Cortina alongside Tony Wymis in the XL X-Strand Charger. If you were in the crowd at this meeting, here's a chance for you to spot yourself as we take a close-up look at the spectators in the blue lane. Cooper had sold his hot rod and now ran this flathead dragster known as Bazooka, alongside pioneer dragster constructor Brian Whitty in Norwesterner, his 4th dragster so far. Brian's first attempt was in 1962, built with fellow Highwayman hot rodders Alan Herridge and Robin Evermy for the Long Marston Sprint that year. This is Colin Glass in his Allard-framed 2-litre Bristol engine rail. Colin takes on a wheel-standing Derek Metcalf in his TR2 dragster. Derek had named his car Wombat and had fitted a new front axle and nose cone since 1965. Looks like he was enjoying himself. The two Kens come out, Ken Cooper and Ken Bunce, whose jag engine slingshot was called Baron's Barrow. The most immaculately turned out car of '66 was Les Turner's Turner Ford dragster, powered by a Shorrock-blown 1500 Ford. Every component was either highly polished, painted or chromed, and it went quick too, being runner-up in the handicap dragster division, and Les also took the Class F standing start quarter-mile record at the Alvington World Records meet in 1966 with a two-way average of 11.151 seconds. That's Keith Sow's Jag, which ran in modified production. Tony Densham was making his first runs in the Golden Hind, which was the ex-Mickey Thompson Harvey Aluminium Special, brought over to this country in 1963 when it raced with Moon Eyes at Debden. Parts from this car were used in the construction of Commuter, which debuted in 1967. Tony Densham was also driving the Warden at this meeting. Running without the blower, it was still performing well with a pair of twin choke levers and tuned headers. And that's Ken Bunce again, running alongside Tony. Winner of the Dragster Division Championship trophy was Tony Gain in his 500cc Rudge motorcycle engine dragster called Wicked Lady. He had a 2.1 second handicap start on Les Turner in the final and stayed ahead to take the win. Tony's crewman was an enthusiastic teenager called Dennis Priddle. Next to the Rudge machine in this shot is Rex Sluggett's first fuel dragster called the Duke of Cornwall. It used a Dodge Hemi with a pot-bin front-mounted GMC blower and 4-port Hillborn injection. The Hemi had a Crower cam kit and Vertex magneto. The Hallobrand mags were brought over by Bob Keith at the second drag festival and were fitted with treaded racing tyres. The dragster was entered at Woodvale in '65 but wouldn't fire up. It made a brief appearance at Santa Pod in '66 where it blew up, so Rex decided to cut his losses and start again. In '67 he teamed up with Dennis Priddle, who began construction of Tudor Rose. Derek Metcalf fitted a Jag cylinder head, minus the 4.5 cylinders, to his TR2 block in 1966, but after much grief returned it back to how it was. 1967 saw Tony Gain debut another mini dragster, powered by a 650 BSA parallel twin sporting a chain-driven Roots aircraft cabin blower. A fiberglass nose section was fitted, the remaining body panels being of aluminium sheet. Like Wicked Lady, this machine used Moulton bicycle wheels up front. Sodbuster was the name of Jack Fisher's bored-out Mini Cooper-based machine. The resulting rebore increased the capacity to 1,132 cc's, and for a little extra poke, Jack fitted a Weber carb. A square tube frame was attached behind the mini subframe, and in true dragster fashion, the rear end was rigidly mounted, fitted with 1932 Austin 7 hubs and reverse 10-inch mini wheels. The push bar had a dual-purpose feature, in that for transportation to the drags, the rear wheels were removed and the push bar hitched to the tow ball of Jack's Land Rover. This is Chris Leaney's 1352 Volkswagen powered rail. Bodywork was knocked up in polished aluminium and Chris drove it lying on his back. Up front, the well-proven Allard Dragon front-end components were used. Wheeler drag racing Scorpion dragster debuted at the first meet of 1967, powered by an 875 Hillman Imp. Again, driver Mick Wheeler drove the machine on his back. Narrowed rear end had Imp wheels bolted on, and the front end was held up by rally rimmed bicycle wheels. The front tyres were also from the same source, being disguised by painting over the white rubber with black tyre paint. Ian Domain smokes off the line in his 289 Zodiac at the 1967 season opener at Santa Pod. That's Dave Cottingham in his XK 120. Jerry Tyack had entered a Porsche Carrera 6, but it was nowhere as quick as his Cobra. That's Robin Balch in Yellow Rod, as seen at the 1966 August Championships, now less fenders, bonnet and grille. Mark Stratton gives Robin a race in the new Huster BSA altered, powered initially by the 265 Chevy from Mark's 1966 car. Derek Metcalf was still putting wheel stands in Wombat despite a longer chassis for 1967. The new Megalomania funny car smokes off the line, run by Keith Sowers. The bodywork was custom built by Fiberglass Repairs and was based on an MGB with an E-type front end. Power for the metal flaked orange and gold beast was a 396 Chevy Rat. Stagecoach debuted at this meeting. The Austin 7 ruby bodied square tube framed altered used a 3.4 Jag. Another new altered was Disturbance, run by Roy Denard and Brian Sutton, who took all the slides and film in Time Travel 1. The Orange Anglia used another 3.4 Jag. Brooks ran the ex-Bellamy Ford Pop, fitted with 1500 Cortina GT power and 13-inch wheels. This car was originally used for club circuit racing, with a blown 93A engine in it. Mark Stratton comes out for another blast in Hustler. And that's the Jag Model Y Juggernaut. This is the 500 Triumph kart of Derek Mayston. Clive Lingard was running a red, white and blue Zodiac in D production, while Brian Whitty was running in C production with a 62 Galaxy. Brian Rigsall was running the ex-Ken Bunce Jag Slingshot, renamed Wee Green P, and Ken Cooper had a new chassis on Bazooka. Stagecoach lights them up, alongside another Jag Slingshot called Blunderbuss. Here's another look at Yellow Rod. The pilot flathead had twin carbs and Allard heads. That's Rick Goodall's Zephyr 6 and Ian Garbutt's High Fever Topolino, powered by an Allard flathead. Inspired by E.J. Potter, Les Field had built a similar plot, stuffing a Chevy V8 in an old Visa plunger frame. Ignition problems resulted in plenty of tows down the strip, which caused great amusement when viewed from behind. As the engine spat back, gouts of flame seemed to shoot from the top of Les's helmet, and clouds of smoke appeared from underneath his armpits. Alan Blount gets ready for a ride in Weekend Warrior, powered by an injected 241 Dodge Red Ram Hemi. That's Jerry Cookson in his nicely turned out troubleshooter 975 BMC digger. Mick Wheeler demonstrates his laid back driving position in Scorpion, as does Chris Leaney in his VW machine. This film was taken later in 1967. Megalomania now had injection fitted to the rats and was beginning to produce quick times. The new commuter Top Fuel dragster made its first full power runs at the August Championship meeting. Jack Stilwell's Phaeton 1 Jag Slingshot, piloted by Tony Brown. On to 1968, as we get an aerial shot of the Cadillac-powered Hound Dog 3. That's Reg Summers' straight 6 Zephyr-engined MAB Slingshot in the blue lane against Derek Metcalf's blown V4 Stripstar. Derek returns to the pits, which were now alongside the strip, as the start line had been moved back. John Bennett takes a stroll through the pits. That's Alan Herridge's Junior Fueler Motivation. That's Reg Summers again in the blue lane, taking on Freddie Whittle in Shutdown. Bootsy lights them up in Motivation. That looks like Weekend Warrior 2 in the blue lane. I think that's Geronimo in the yellow lane. And that looks like Tudor Rose. Hound Dog comes out against Geronimo. That's Wild Walt Ithel's blown Chevy digger, Poltergeist. Brian Parkins comes out on his 500 Triumph keel cart. That looks like Harold Ball in Strip Duster. And that's the jag-powered Triumph Roadster of Bill McGrath called Gloink. Derek Metcalf had sold his TR2 dragster to Mike Cunningham. Harold Ball returns to the pits. Watford Motor Accessories sold 2 American drag racing cine films in the 60s, which I found amongst Brian Sparrow's films. So to end this video, here's some American drag racing from 1964, which includes the Fuelers of Garlett's and Ivo and George Montgomery's Willis, all of which came over for the 1964 drag festivals.